Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Be Europe show. I'm Harry.
And I am Vlora from Eurodesk, and we are very happy to be here again for the fifth episode. Oh my god, so fast! For the fifth episode, which takes us today on a virtual journey to Czech Republic. Have you ever visited Prague, Harry, the capital of today's country, which joined the European Union in 2004?
No, I haven't. I do know that Prague is nicknamed the city of 100 spires, though, as they have 500 spires in the city. And it's also known for, the Czech Republic is also known for its castles and has the most castles in Europe with over 2,000 across the country. So a very historic city. Very historic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I also know that in Czech Republic, we can find the largest ancient castle in the world, which is the Prague Castle, the very popular one.
Yeah, it's steeped in history and renowned for peace as well. So in 2021, the Global Peace Index ranked the Czech Republic 9th on the most peaceful countries in the world. So a very peaceful and happy place.
Wow, that's maybe because the country has the highest beer consumption per capita than any other country in the world. That might be the secret, probably. But maybe we could try it out some of their most popular beer once we visit the country, which is Pilsner Urquell. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. I maybe we can ask our guest for today. And if we visit the country, we should go in July because in July it happens the currently very international film festival, which is one of the oldest in the world.
Wow, that sounds like a plan. And we need to start booking our flights. But for now, I think we probably won't get too far ahead of ourselves. And we welcome today's guest, which is Markéta. Markéta, you're very welcome.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Markéta.
Good afternoon.
How are things?
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, Markéta, for those who are unfamiliar with you and what you do, can you maybe introduce yourself a small bit?
Okay. So, hello everybody. My name is Markéta. I'm 26 years old, and I come from a small town called Sušice in the Czech Republic. It's in the southwest. It's from a mountain region just next to the border with Germany. I love sports, so during winter I used to work as a skiing instructor, and then in summer I used to work as tour guide. And in the past, I already participated in 3 University Erasmus days, 1 European Solidarity Corps day, and in several youth exchanges and training courses.
Wow. I can't ski now, so you're gonna probably have to give me a lesson sometime. I'd say Vlora looks very experienced, but I'm a bit
Not really. I'm really experienced in falling down, probably.
It's also important.
No, I don't think I'd be any good at that. But can you tell us a bit about your work? So you mentioned a bit about the European Solidarity Corps. Can you tell us a bit about the work that you're doing now at the moment?
Well, right now I'm living in Paris, where I came in October last year for my graduation internship at the university at the international and European relations. And then since April, I'm working here as a full-time job.
Fantastic. Yeah, sounds very dynamic, your lifestyle. And let's start asking more about your experiences and how you explored Europe and the world in general. So we know that you like really to explore countries and learn more about other cultures. But how did your traveling history start? Like, what was the first country you visited, and how did everything started?
Well, I think that the first countries I have visited, it was during holidays with my parents, apparently, and I really liked it. Then for many years, I was singing in a choir, and when this choir, we were also traveling in Europe and outside. And then I think I started to realize that I really like it, and I want to explore more during my secondary grammar school studies, where I participated in several youth exchanges, and I could really meet foreigners, speak with them, and experience also other culture. And then what really changed my attitude, or when I really decided that I want to not to just visit other countries but also to live there, it was my first Erasmus when I went in 2017 to France for 1 semester.
Amazing. And what did you learn from these experiences? So traveling, everyone always says, is such an informative experience. But what were the biggest takeaways for you? And I suppose your biggest challenges as well. I assume it wasn't all plain sailing, easy going. I'm sure there were some challenges along the way.
Of course, there are always some challenges, but I have to say that the process of learning is not finished. Like, I'm learning all the time something new. Every day I learn, if it's related to the language, to the culture, to myself. I learn every day something new. My biggest unexplored world, it was in 2020 when I went to Georgia, and I didn't have a lot of idea about this country. There, the language is super different, and it was also for the first time where I went there on my own. I didn't have my friends with me, neither my family. Also, there were like no other Czech people. So for me, this was the biggest challenge, I think.
And is traveling alone a scary experience? So I went traveling last summer across a few European cities. So I went to Rome and Berlin, and I found it a little bit, I suppose, not lonely, but I suppose it's very hard to get to know people. But what was your experience of it? I was a bit scared as well, I think is probably the honest truth. But what's it like solo traveling without friends and family around you?
It's different. Maybe you are more accessible for other people because you are not in a group. Important thing is to not to be afraid to connect to other people, but of course that it always depends on other people. Like, you always meet different personalities, so then it doesn't depend a lot on the country where you are, but the people who you met.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
in the beginning,
No, please
yeah, in
go
the
ahead.
beginning it's maybe a little bit like scary, but then you get used to it, and then you're not surprised anymore, or you are always surprised, but then you are used to be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's always like a stair. You start with being a bit afraid, then you get connection with new people, and then you establish something stronger after. And this is like a process that happens in any new adventure, especially when you go to, for example, Erasmus Plus projects, etc. You're just pushed in a group of people that you don't know, and just you need to start this process from the beginning. But it always turns, I mean, my personal experience as well, it always turns as a positive adventure. So you always get good relationships at the end of friendships. By the way, you lived in a lot of European countries. Maybe you can list them and explain us a bit more about your path, your traveling path, let's say, and also with this Erasmus project that you participated in. And also, I want to ask, beside of this, what are the differences that you noticed that really came under your eyes? Like, my God, these countries are different for this and for that, but they also have some common points.
Okay, so I lived half year in France in a city called Limoges. Then I lived another 6 months in another city in France called Lorient in Brittany. Then I left 1 semester in Germany, in Saxony, in a city called Zwickau. And then I left in Georgia, in Tbilisi, for half a year as well. And now I'm living in Paris. Beside that, I always lived at home in the Czech Republic. And my view is that in each country, the experience is different, but then in the end, you can see that we in Europe, we all share the same values. And even if there are some stereotypes, you can see them or not, you want to see them or not, then still in Europe, like, the values are more or less the same. Yes.
And what about Czech Republic people? Do you think there are some stereotypes around Czech Republic citizens? Like, for example, me as an Italian, everywhere I go, they ask me about pizza, about mozzarella, and all this stuff. And what about Czech Republic people? There are some stereotypes that maybe we can destroy now.
Well, in the beginning, you mentioned the beer. It's a stereotype which is more or less true, But for example, I didn't drink beer for a long time. I started like 3 years ago, and I started to drink beer in France, not in the Czech Republic. And the French beer is not like very well recommended. So I'm a special case. But then yes, a lot of people, they drink beer. Also, our food is very heavy. Also, we wear socks and sandals. This is really a nice stereotype. But yeah, I think that if I'm abroad and I say I'm Czech, everybody is asking about beer. Then interesting thing is that they think that I'm a beer expert, which I'm not. For me, it's like I like it or I don't like it. But I don't
Exactly.
understand beer.
I appreciate your problems as an Irishman. It's a common question about beer and alcohol consumption, but there's definitely more to the Czech people and to the Irish people than beer, as we know. You've mentioned you participate in a lot of volunteering projects in Georgia. Which program have you got this opportunity with? So obviously on the Be Your podcast, we're all about trying to explore the different opportunities and the different programs that offer them. Can you maybe talk a bit about the program that you were involved with and how you found out about it as well? So we're always curious to know where people are getting their information, hopefully from Eurodesk, of course, but we're curious to know where are you getting all of this information, how are you getting involved?
Okay, so my stay in Georgia was connected with a program called European Solidarity Corps. Before it was called European Voluntary Service, and it's a program for young people till 30 years old who can go up to 12 months abroad and then choose an organization or a school or association where they want to volunteer. So they work there, but the accommodation, the food, and the travel costs are covered. I decided to go there to also connect my internship at my university because it was obligatory. So, and I knew that I didn't want to stay in the Czech Republic. I wanted to go abroad. And once I participated in a youth exchange with a Czech NGO, and I got connected with them, I got involved in their activities. And when I was discussing about my wish to go abroad to do some voluntary service, they told me about their friend organization in Georgia. And I really wanted to go to Georgia. I didn't know a lot about this country, but I knew that there's really, really nice nature. So because of the nature and of the mountains, I decided to go there, and also because of the good recommendation of this NGO in Tbilisi. So I went there, and in the beginning, I was supposed to co-organize there also youth exchanges and training courses for international groups. But I came there in March 2020. Everybody knows what happened. COVID came and it a little bit changed my plans. So in the end, we were volunteering at two farms. So there we were just doing what was necessary, and we also got connected with another NGO in Georgia in a small town where we organized workshops for retired people and for children about the different topics. And even if it was COVID, for me, it was one of the best experience in my life.
That's amazing. And can you tell me, sorry, out of curiosity, what was your university course?
My university course, it was a master degree called Regional and European Project Management. So we had to choose an internship in the Czech Republic or abroad, which is connected to the project management. And yeah, and like project management is very general term. Then it depends what is your division. So I decided to go into NGO.
That's great. And I think a lot of people will not realize, but I suppose they won't understand that you can actually link your education with your European Solidarity Corps experience to benefit in more than one way. So you get that experience, and then you also get that life-changing experience, which everyone speaks about, and it works hand in hand, which is great. Can you, I suppose, from a bigger point of view, so moving away from the career and the exciting travel opportunity, from the life experience, what was it like getting to go and experience that and to meet new people and experience a new culture? Can you talk a bit about that experience, I suppose?
For me, the most what I got from this experience, it's the people there. I have like a second family. I know that whenever I just come, I just knock on the door, and I'm there, and they're back. But I also learned a lot about myself. It was also maybe because of COVID pandemic that I had more time for myself. As you may see, my life is very rich. I do a lot of activities, and sometimes I'm too fast and I don't even see what I do. So when I was in Georgia, it really helped me to be with myself, to slow down, to experience more in the real life, to live slower and maybe better.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think a lot of people have that experience as well. Anyone I ever speak to, it's so much more than a volunteer experience where you get good work experience. It's a life-changing experience as well. So that's really great. And I think a lot of people will be listening to this and they're going, wow, how can I sign up? So I think that's great.
Exactly. And I just want to say something about Georgia, because I've also been there sometimes, and I really felt among the people around the city this connection with European people. I mean, even if they geographically are not exactly in Europe, still I didn't feel so much difference between me and young people living there. So that's something great, and that's why also Georgia is also part of Eurodesk since very recently. So I really feel that there is this connection, and also the values that we share, that you said we share among European countries, the same values, and also the countries that are just at the border of geographical Europe. I think we still have the same things going on within us. So I think you can totally confirm that, as you lived much longer than I did there.
Yes, for sure, I agree. And also, when I went there, you said that we are like they're also almost part of Europe, but there I really felt like European, because you don't realize when you're in Europe how many benefits you have. Then I how easily we can travel from one country to another. We just buy plane tickets, and in the afternoon we can go to another country. And they're like Georgians, they try to be more European so much, but I didn't see it before. What how good it is. Also regarding like the visa or the passport, I don't I don't care about it, because with my ID I can travel wherever I want in Europe. They have to ask for visa, so you don't realize before you are actually there.
Yeah, that's totally correct. I mean, we are just used to have these benefits of being European, and then we just forget how cool it is and actually how different life is without these kind of benefits. Especially when you go abroad in countries that are not having this, you really realize that. And that was my other question actually. What do you think are the most benefits about being European? The great advantages about being European. Of course, traveling is on top of this, but I imagine you feel many others, so that you can tell us.
Well, for me, traveling is also like number one. How easy
Number
it is.
one, for sure.
Also, like the culture is different in every country, but still, as I already told in the beginning, said in the beginning, we share the same values, the European values, and also we don't realize it before we go outside of Europe. So this is also nice. Also, like the language, if you speak well English, it's international, but then you go to Asia, you speak English and nobody understands you. So so also the language, and yeah. I think it's
How
important to experience it, to go abroad and to see it and to experience by ourselves.
That's true. That's the best advice, actually. And what does it mean for you to be a young European? You had a lot of time, of course, to reflect on the benefits. Of course, even when you were in Georgia, you had a lot of time on your own, let's say, to reflect about this. But maybe you now can have a sort of evaluation. What does it mean for you to be a young European in 2022?
Yeah, I'm really happy that you mentioned young European, because for me it's also a question of the generation. When my lifestyle is really not applicable to the generation of my parents. When they go abroad, for them it's really like a travel to which they have to prepare, they have to think about it, plan in advance, and for them it's really like holidays. For me,
True.
I can go for a weekend to another country. I have friends all around Europe. I speak different languages every day, so this is for me like the possibilities, the diversity, but common values. Or yeah, like we are all on the same line, but we are all in Europe, in different countries. And but also maybe it's also because of my situation and of my social bubble. Because of course I connect with internationals, I connect with friends from other countries because I like it. I like to discover, to explore other countries, but also other cultures, other people. So it's for me it's question of the generation, and I will profit of being young European, but maybe also the question of my social bubble.
Yeah, that's totally correct. I imagine my parents and my lifestyle at the moment, it's totally disconnected from what they used to do in their young when they were young. Especially the thing that you said, like generally parents prepare everything very much in advance if they have to go abroad. And my mom is the same, like wake me up 1 week before to go to the airport, and I'm just like a half an hour before going to the places. So yeah, totally can relate to that. But my question now is more like, let's say that's you, of course, but how do you think young people from Czech Republic see Europe? Do you think they feel the same as you do? They feel the same values? They feel they can benefit from Europe as much as you are doing?
I hope, but I'm not
Of
sure
course,
about
yeah.
it. Because also Czech people, like we are, this is the general stereotype, and I don't like the generalization, but in the case of the Czech Republic, but I can also see that it's the case in France. Young people, they, even if they learn English or any other foreign language from the very beginning at school, then they are afraid, they are embarrassed by speaking other languages. Also the education system in the Czech Republic, it's more like to not to make a thought, so they are so afraid to not to put the correct grammar, or to not to have the vocabulary, so instead of trying they don't speak at all. But I hope that it's changing more and more also with these programs. Also, like in the Czech Republic, I'm trying to disseminate the info of all the possibilities. Then it's also the question of big cities and small towns. I don't know if it's only the case of the Czech Republic, or also other European countries. But I could see when I was younger that children or young people, youngsters from small towns, they usually don't even know about all the possibilities, or yeah, they are closed in their region, and they don't inform because they don't know about it. Um, but I hope it will change
Yeah,
soon.
I think that's a big problem, and I think it's something for the European Year of Youth is a big focus, is that diversity and inclusion and equality as well, and trying to get more young people involved in the benefits and the positives of the European Union, and trying to realize that there is people, very similar situation in Ireland, where there is big cities, but there's also small rural towns and villages where young people don't have the same opportunities. And I think that's a really important point. And a lot of countries have similar setups where there are big cities and there's loads of information, but once you move outside of those big cities, it's very hard to get connected and involved. So I think that's a great point. And I'm interested to know as well, one of the big focuses for the EU in the future is a greener future. So trying to bring sustainability and the environment to the forefront. And I know the topic of your master's thesis was circular economy. Now, I won't pretend to know what that is. I will say that I did Google it, and I think I have some understanding. So I'm going to ask you two questions in one. So the first part is, what is circular economy for those of us who aren't smart enough to know? And secondly, what's the benefits? I suppose, how can Europe incorporate this to build a greener and brighter future?
Well, the circular economy, it's like a model of consumption, but also production, which takes into account the sustainable development, climate change, the nature protection, waste management, and so on. I started to be interested in this topic because I saw the world around me, and I think about things I do in my daily life. Also, as I experience like different educational systems in different countries, I could see that in Germany they really focus a lot on waste management, on ecology and sustainable development. In the Czech Republic, it's not always the case. So I wanted to explore more this topic. But actually, my master thesis, it was about circular economy at the school building, because as you see, now I work for university. Before I was connected to non-formal education. I really like to be in this sphere. So I concentrated on the school buildings, because usually if there is some awareness about circular economy or sustainable development or ecology or something like that, it's usually in terms of education, about speaking about it. But also the buildings themselves, they can be more circular. They can save energy. There is some water system, food wasting. So I concentrated on this. I cooperated with one primary school in Prague, and it was really nice, and it opened my eyes how what we are doing now and what we can do more. But the circular economy try to keep products or things in general as long as possible in the life circle.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think every day is a school day, so I've learned something new, which is the main thing. And I'm curious to know, in terms of sustainable development in the EU, what can we be doing? Or if you had a direct line to the people in power and you were like, we need to do 1 or 2 or 3 things, what would they be? What can we do today to help us to build that greener future?
Well, you also said in the beginning that before this podcast, you didn't really know what is the circular economy. So important thing is communication and dissemination, because and explanation also, because for a lot of people, and it's also the question of maybe of generations, when they just hear the word ecology or sustainable development, they think about some eco fanatics or I don't know what. It's not always the truth. It's about our daily lifestyle. So for me, the communication and the right use of term is very important. But then what is sad is that it always, like, circular economy is very connected to business. It's like a business in a sustainable way. Then people use it for their commercial purposes. So then there is a lot of greenwashing. So it means using the bad terms or the good terms for bad things.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can face it. It will be still there because there are always people who just want to gain money. But I think that with a good communication process, we can at least spread the word about what is it and why it is important.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
paying for
Totally.
today.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Markéta. And just something just bumped in my mind. I also did my master thesis in the circular economy topic, so we have also this in common. And actually, I think about the greenwashing that you just mentioned. This is something really frequent, unfortunately, not only Europe, I would say, but everywhere in the world, of course. And maybe from our side, what we can do is just to make informative choices. So before buying something, before making a market choice, let's just make some research and see if that company, if that product is really made with a sustainable product, if we want to make this kind of choice, of course. So let's just make some research. Now we have open sources, Google, everything we want to really discover if something is done in a proper way or not. By the way, this year there was a project run all over Europe during the year was collecting ideas from young people on how they will shape the future of Europe. And we were just talking about the future of the planet and Europe, of course, in particular. And this project was called 25%. And if you will, I know that you also participated in a limited way, let's say, to this project. But imagine yourself now heading an idea to this project, to this collection of ideas. What would it be? How would you shape the future of Europe?
Well, during this conference, we were divided into smaller groups, and I was in the group of digital education. Again, education.
Of course, makes sense.
So we discussed a lot of things, and for me, I don't know what I would add, because I think that we really shaped the future as we wanted. But what I want to point out is because we speak very often about possibility of digital education, but what is maybe even more important is the accessibility of digital education, because not everybody has the access to, even if we are young Europeans in 2022, not everybody has full access to internet, not everybody has computer, and then it's really difficult to switch to digital education. And also, we speak about a lot about education of children, but there are teachers who have to teach them. So also the lifelong learning education of teachers, so that they are really good teachers for children, is for me very important.
Wow, totally agree. Really, from the A to the Z, really, because of course, what we are trying to do, of course, is in trying to reach out young people to inform about this. But if we don't have the tools, and in this case, of course, we are really much relying on digital tools. It's very limited until where we can reach young people. So it's really important what you said, and especially in rural areas. Maybe sometimes we are living in big cities and we just forget that there are different realities, and there are people not having the same tools, the same benefits, and the same lifestyle that we are having. And we also need to readapt to this and try to accommodate these needs, of course, especially for young people. And especially this year, it's the European Year of Youth. So we all are aware of this, of course. And what are your plans for this special year and for your future? Are you planning to travel, to go somewhere else again, to take another project?
Well, right now I'm really enjoying my time in France. And well, already before I was a part in an NGO, and now I work at the university. So for me, what is really important for me, and so that could be also important for youth, it's the connection between the formal and informal, non-formal education. So I hope to participate more and more in such activities like that.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's it's a nice aspiration to have for the year. And I have one last question. It's a question that we ask all of our guests, and it always inspires the most interesting questions. So I'm curious to know your answer. What advice would you give to young people? So people who are listening today to the podcast are going to listen back later on, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And they might be inspired by one of your experiences or one of the projects that you're involved in. What advice would you give to them about how to get started?
Okay, so what I always say to myself is, Markéta, don't be afraid. Don't only think about things, but also do things. Don't be afraid to start. My motto of my life is that the experience doesn't have to be always positive, but it is always intensive. And another thing is that something always happens. If it's bad or not, something always happens. Something will come. Also, before going to France, I didn't know what to do. When I finished my studies, what to do, and then this internship and this job happened, and I'm here.
Brilliant. That's
Yeah,
great
that's a great.
advice.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the part that you said that every time can happen something. That's really true. Even for me, even I imagine for Harry, which is super dynamic and taking a lot of projects at the same time, you never know what's going to happen the day after. So just activate yourself. Just send emails. Try to to inform yourself as much as you can. And the more you do this, and the more things will happen to you. So that's really a great advice.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
And thank you so much as well for your time today. I think everyone would really have benefited from the conversation and to hearing your experiences. And I've learned something new, which is always a great bonus. And I'm sure plenty of people listening in have too as well. So thank you so much, Markéta, for your time.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for this really nice interview.
Thank you, Markéta, really for sharing your story. I'm sure it will inspire other young people living in Europe, and I wish also abroad, so from Georgia and other countries as well. So goodbye. See you on the next episode, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.